that's the Achilles heels of mine. That's my, that's my rubber band. If you don't have support, the people around you supporting you in your endeavors, it's like, it's the walking up a hill. It's the, you're kind of fighting against, everything that you love, or, everything that's personal is almost going against you as you're really fighting the battle for them.
Guys, welcome to the Levelin Up podcast with Brigham Blackham. I've got my good friend, Rashad Thirlkill here. We are so grateful to have an opportunity to talk about momentum, talk about the ways that we move forward in business, the ways that we create value. And man, we've got some ideas here that are just gonna blow your mind. So Rashad, welcome to the podcast. Sorry, I screwed up and I thought I hit go to the thing, but it wasn't working. So I'm glad we're live now.
Yeah, we're live now.
We're live. Here we go.
We do have a recorded version. Hopefully it did record. So there's a lot of knowledge being dropped and some good conversation going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Rashad, let's start here. We're already in momentum. Tell me a little bit about how people make shifts from one side of their business when they're like, man, this isn't quite working, to something that just starts to flow. Because I feel like there's pinch points in business that stop you, and there's other things that you're like, man, this is just working. How do you find that flow?
Man, when you get something down, Pat, when you understand it and you can, delegate that to someone else, is when you can naturally move to another part of your business. And in that sense, you can begin to practice. You can begin seeing if this works, doing your test runs. And you can do that until you find the flow of that. And then when you find the flow of that, delegate that to someone and move on to something else.
I love that's kind of just basically understanding standard operating procedures, right? You get yourself in flow. You're like, now I've written down everything that I needed to do to get into flow. And then you can delegate. I think, wow, that was knowledge right there. Knowledge with wisdom. Fantastic. So when you recognize that you're in the zone, how do you know that you are living in your genius zone? Because there's some things that you do in business that you're like, hey, I have to get my books done. Somebody has to do it. And then there's some times where you're like, man, this is exactly what I was put on this earth to do. I'm so good at this specific thing. How do you know and recognize when you're in your zone of genius?
I think it's the thing that puts a smile on your face. It's the thing that, as I said earlier, it's the thing that attracts others, and you find just coming to you naturally. I can relate this to, I used to do music, and that's one outlet that you will come into a zone to where it almost feels like you're in inertia and outside body experience. It's something that you could stay up for 2-3 days doing. So when you find that and you get that feeling about whatever it is you're doing, I think that's when you know you're there.
So good. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about how an avalanche, it builds up, it has that pressure, there's all that snow, and then at some point, the mountain moves, and that entire momentum gets shifted into whatever it is that you're focusing on in your business. What are ways that you've been able to build up that pressure to be able to start your own avalanche in your business?
So one way that I know, you have the great shark Damon John. He has a book called The Power of Broke.
Nice.
And it's for some people, and I can say that I'm one of them, the uncomfort zone. Ooh. the mindset of something that you can't have, something that you can't do. It could even be someone telling you that you can't do it.
Hmm.
So to be challenged is what it takes to build up that snow to the point where, you know, it's time for this thing to blow.
Yeah.
That's my thought on that.
No, that's great. That's great. You think about the discomfort zone. I've heard of it called the comfort zone, but we have a much larger discomfort zone, right? You think about the things that we have done in the past, the things that we've done in our present. Those are things that we're like, oh, I've at least done something like that. But when you step into the discomfort zone, that's where a lot of growth can happen. That's where some really interesting things for your business, stepping into that unknown space that maybe you stepped off a cliff and you're like, oh, that was the wrong thing to do. And then maybe you stepped on a place that allows your whole business to open up and amazing things happen. So I love it. Do you have a concrete example of a way that momentum has been built into your business? Another one of those stories that you're like, man, if I hadn't done this, like this little thing over and over and over, I wouldn't have had the momentum that I have now.
Sales.
Yeah.
Like sales, continuing to call, continue to knock on doors, continuing to, I'll tell you something that's I don't know, people might take this a different way, but in my life, I caught on the momentum of losing jobs. And the momentum of losing jobs, or me, like, it didn't take me much to walk away from a job. If I knew that I wasn't being treated right, if I knew this wasn't a job for me, I had no problem leaving a job. And that led to the creation of entrepreneurship for the most part. That led to me burning the boats, per se.
Yeah.
And so that is a point that I could say that just the momentum of building up the courage to just say, man, I'm gonna do this on my own. That's I had one person tell me before that I don't even know why I was going to get another job, and they was like, I don't even know why you're going to waste these people's time. Like, it's time for you to do your own thing. And so just the momentum of knowing myself, and that did come along with, once you get into the job, it's all you. It's the momentum of making sales calls, the momentum of knocking on doors to get that first customer.
It's interesting you bring up that, because sales is service. And when you are in service for somebody, you think about like a machine that's in service, or a business that's in service, there is a progress that comes from it. There's a movement towards some way that you can help somebody. If you're willing to help somebody and you are currently doing it, you're selling or you're serving, there are ways that you want to keep helping, right? What's the next thing? What will help you more? And eventually those value ladders get built up so much that people are like, oh man, you've helped me so much, I can't not do this.
Right.
Or it doesn't make any sense not to do this. That's a huge value exchange, you know. And then as soon as that value is way more than the dollar amount, then they're like, yeah, of course, let's do this. So one of the ideas that I wanted to play with that I think is really helpful is this idea that I got from Hugh Zaretsky. He wrote a book called it was the launch button, press the launch button. And the idea is to have consistent daily action toward your intended goal. And I think this is exactly what momentum is in another way. When you have consistent daily action towards whatever your focus is, say, this is what I want. I'm going to take an action today, or 2 or 3 actions toward that. But you have it consistent. Every single day, you do something that will allow you to get closer. What if you could pinpoint in your business is one of those consistent daily actions that you've been able to do day in and day out that have helped you succeed?
Learning, reading, watching YouTube videos every day. The reading aspect it's imperative for me. It's imperative for me to stay in the zone needed to function.
Yeah.
New ideas at all times. I'm naturally a reader. Like I love to read, but normally I want to try something. Like you say, I want to get into the flow state, and I know that reading, it's like a stepping stone for me every single day. There's a new challenge. There's something new to be creative about. There's something new to try coming from another person's idea and what they've done. So I definitely would say reading and just gaining more knowledge.
So good. Now, one of the things that reminds me of that I think was interesting, because on yesterday, I had my friend Joan Robinson on, and she sent me these little cards that have all these little sayings. I'm going to read this saying, and I want to get your opinion on it, because I think it's relevant here. Challenges are sent to support my personal growth. And then what she says at the bottom is, what we resist persists. So I want your opinion on that. What in your experience with challenges have supported your personal growth?
What experiences?
Yeah. So if you think about challenges, so for instance, like weights, you have that challenge, that resistance that builds your muscles. What are some of those struggles, the challenges, the difficulties that you've gone through that have built you into the person you are today?
Oh my God. I spoke with the author today to get my book written. I have so many stories to tell. Man, I would say support. That's the Achilles heels of mine. That's my, that's my rubber band. If you don't have support, the people around you supporting you in your endeavors, it's like, it's the walking up a hill. It's the, you're kind of fighting against, everything that you love, or, everything that's personal is almost going against you, as you're really fighting the battle for them, So I would definitely say in that sense, just the support or the non-support is what has made me stronger. It's made me want to build business and get past it.
Love it. So that support system that you have, your friends, your family, the people that you have close knit to you, in your opinion, that's the thing that's helped you become the person that you are today. So if I understand you right, as far as being able to create momentum, it is in the consistent daily actions you take. It is with that support system. And I know that you're very consistent in your podcast. I know you've been doing that for a little while. Talk to us about the mindset around, hey, I'm not just going to do one podcast or two, but to stay consistent with it, to say I'm committed to my audience to give them value every single time they log in. Let's talk about that.
I'm glad you asked that. Brigham, because that was a goal that I set for myself. And I said, what I am going to do is 100 episodes. I don't care what happened. I don't care about any of the pitfalls. I don't care what happens. I'm going to book. And I think for 3 to 4 straight months, I hired a booking agent, and I had him to book almost every day, Monday through Thursday, a different guest. And I just sat there, man, every day at 6 o'clock, 6:15, I'd come do a podcast and just knock it out. Because, and to be honest with you, those podcasts that I wanted to do was just for me to get, like you said earlier, in the flow of things.
Yeah.
To kind of, I'm a marketer. That's what I do. My day job basically is me and my marketing company. So I do a lot of research, and that was my way of researching not only ideas, but ways, as you mentioned, that I could help people. Mm-hmm. So I figured within that 100, I should be able to get that, that information that I need.
I love it. So you had a very clear goal. I want 100 episodes, and I'm going to be as clear as I can. I need every single day until I get them. And how many episodes have you done so far?
So I want to say it's 75 on my YouTube channel, but I have like another 35 to upload.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
It worked out.
That worked out. Now you're an inspiration to me. Now I barely did my 81st podcast. This is my 82nd. Okay. So this year I was like, I'm doing 100 period. I will do them alone if I need to, but
right.
I think part of it is just saying, I am going to be willing to put my story out there, to speak my dreams out loud. Sometimes people get this idea that just because they know their dream, that other people remember it.
Right.
I remember as an actor, when I got a brand new script, to be able to create momentum with that script, you have to read it. You have to analyze it. You have to think about it. You have to look at the intentions, the tactics, all those different ideas. And then you do something where you think of them in beats. You break them apart into sections, or you chunk the ideas. And as soon as you're able to do that, because you understand the story in depth, then it no longer is a 150-page book that you're memorizing. You're memorizing a 2-paragraph idea and concept, and then a 3-paragraph one, and then two little things, and you make it manageable and reasonable. That's how any good personal development coach will help you take your big, massive, hairy, audacious goals, cut them up, and say, what's realistic for you to do today at the very best that you can today? And then you're like, well, this is what's realistic. And you're like, all right, now if that's realistic, what's your minimum? What are you going to do if you feel awful? What are you going to do if no matter what you said you're going to do it, even if you're on your deathbed? What is that minimum? And if you show me your minimums, I'll show you your future. I heard that from Rob Sperry, and I think it's very true here, that anytime you're willing to break down your goals, you can have a breakthrough without the breakdown. Now, I'm going to say that again. You can have a breakthrough without the breakdown. A lot of times people have to have their car break before they're willing to go and fix it. They have to have their marriage break before they go to marriage counseling. They have to have their business break before they figure out, oh, I need to figure out what's up with this service or what's up with this product so that my customers aren't so mad and giving me bad reviews. You can have a breakthrough without a breakdown if you're willing to do the work. You have to identify the work, but then you have to do the work. So Rashad, what in your business is the work that you've identified as the most important, most meaningful, most impactful thing that you do day in and day out?
The most impactful thing that I'm doing at this moment in time is I am searching at this moment in time how I can best serve my avatar. I had to take a step back and figure out, I just, don't want to be everything for everyone. Right. So with all of my research, I kind of stepped back. So what I do on a daily basis is consistent with me building community, right? So whether that I have a website that I work on, my podcast guests that I'm getting together and able to have a speaking engagement. And next is my podcast guests having ebook to call their own based off of my podcast. Everything that I've worked on is how I can build this community of people that I help, which has seemingly came down to authors, speakers, coaches, and consultants.
Nice. You know what I'm hearing? I feel like almost everything you bring up has to do with improving your relationship consistently with the people that mean the most to you. Building that community, that seems like that's everything to you, Rashad. And I think that's a very noble thing, to build those relationships with the coaches, the mentors, like you said, those authors, those people that you intentionally want to surround yourself with. So one of the other ideas that I wanted to explore, when you are in a negative downward spiral, negative momentum, or a cascade, what have you been able to do to identify that so that you can stop the negative cascade and start making positive momentum in your life?
There's a Bible verse. I don't always get it right, but there's a Bible verse that says, "Be still." That's all I know in the verse. I forget what the entire verse said. I have to remember that because I'm always bringing it up. But that's exactly what I do. And I do that in a sense of, when I say be still, if I'm dealing with something negative, I'm not going to keep digging with that shovel. I'm gonna stop digging. You know, it's I feel in my mind that not that it'll just go away, but let me work it out from this point, not to continue digging and making it worse. When I find out the negative, I try to root it out. Let's get that out of here. And the reason that I know to do this is because I know how it will stop momentum. That the negative will stop momentum and have you backed up. I'd rather be backed up a week more so than a month. I'd rather be backed up a month more so than a year. So let's get that out of the way. However long it takes, let's get this negativity out, and then let's continue on.
I love that. And really recognizing when you're in that spiral to say, oh, I need to stop doing damage to my business, to my personal life, to those relationships. So you stop doing the damage and then step back and figure out what is it that I can do to get back in that momentum. One of the ideas that I thought was really helpful with our concept of having to start this avalanche is there's a moment in everyone's life where they get to make a decision. And remember, a good decision made at the right time is better than the best decision made too late. Every single person has a decision to say, am I going to be the person that I was put on this earth to be or not? Am I going to fall into the status quo, or I'm going to fall into whatever is most comfortable? Have you had that decision yet? And if you have, what was that aha moment for you, Rashad?
Like I said, I was not comfortable. I knew my father was an entrepreneur. I knew, from 6th and 7th grade that I would be doing something, I would own something. I would be some type of entrepreneur. Tried working for other people. It didn't suit me, right? So I know that my destiny, which I feel we are all put on this earth for a certain reason, I know just that my destiny is to teach. My destiny is to show others, to bring others along and show them the way. And that's what I'm doing. That's why I did say that I had to take a step back and say, I'm working with this person and that person and that person. I'm almost like, at this point, let me build this community and be what Harley Davidson is to motorcycles. The way that people love Harley Davidson, let me put people into a community to where, like you said earlier, there's networking opportunities, there's investment opportunities. And especially for my generation, Generation X, who don't really know about digital marketing, let me put them in this community so they can learn a little bit more about that. And when all of these jobs and automation start, this is a place that they can learn about all of that. So that's my, legacy. My destiny is really just to teach.
I love it. And it's relationship to riches. I just keep hearing that, man. Relationships, that whenever you go to a retreat, you go to an event, some type of personal development event, people aren't there for the information. They're there for the impact of those relationships.
Yeah.
If you go to an event and you meet one person that you genuinely know will help you go to that next level, going to that event was 100% worth it, because it's in those momentous relationships that your avalanche is created. Mm-hmm. The snow builds up and you're like, now I know that I just needed that final piece. That's the person. I'm so glad that piece was put there, because now things are different. You're one relationship away from changing the rest of your life. You're one conversation away from changing your relationships. So to wrap up here, I know one of the things I thought was interesting was we're talking about momentum, and we were like in so much momentum at the beginning of this call. And then I realized I hit the live stream thing, but it wasn't going. So we like had to restart and rebuild that momentum. How often in business do you have to check yourself and be like, oh, I thought I was going. I thought I was doing it. I had to recheck myself and keep going. How often does that happen to you, Rashad? Where you're like, I need to restart. I need to get going again.
Oh man, it happens to me a lot. It happens to me a lot. They say that they say it's best not to do a bunch of different things at the same time.
Right.
I'm just wired. That's the way that I'm wired. You know, if I have just one thing going on, you should look at me sideways and be like, what's going on with him? I really have, 2, 3 computers going, a book, a calendar over here. And that's just the way that I operate. But I do have to reset at times. It isn't that it's bothering me, but that all of it bothers me, or that I'm less productive. It's just that sometimes, you have to just reset, a quick nap, a quick walk around the block, lifting a few weights for a while. It is, whatever it is, you need that. We need that to be productive to our maximum capabilities. We need to reset often.
I love that. And taking that reset and saying, you know what? It's okay that we had 20 minutes of the podcast not go.
It was great for us.
Hey man, we had a great conversation. Sorry, you guys missed it. It was good stuff. But to wrap up here, what was a question that I didn't ask you that you wish I had? Could be a story that you wanted to share. I'd love to hear just what's on your mind.
So momentum. It is the last of I have a program, and just so I can get them in order, because I don't normally say them in order, but it is the last of what I utilize to get my life and business on track. I have 8 pillars to success, basically. Beginning with mindset first. Mm-hmm. Then we have motivation. Then we have mentorship. Then movement, meditation, marketing, monetization, and then momentum. So this conversation, if you haven't noticed, we pretty much mentioned all of them, except for maybe monetization. But so those are the pillars that I have that has transformed my life. Those are the pillars that I would like to teach other people how to transform theirs.
Love it. Thank you so much, Rashad. Man, over delivering on the value. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Millionaire by Morning. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to this podcast and to this podcast, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Always a pleasure to be online with you, Rashad. Can't wait till we can be in person. Always looking for that next opportunity. And thank you for sharing those pillars of success. Phenomenal.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for reaching out. It was, that's very important that, like you said earlier, people that you just know can bring value. And I just want to thank you for bringing value to my podcast and allow me to do the same on yours.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure, my friend. We will see you again soon. And guys, as always, if you want more value, hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you. God bless. I'm going to hit this little bookend and we're out.